Jack. All right. You got this stuff?
Yeah. All cleaned and oiled.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get it on.
Who are these guys?
It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Hot damn, it's time to get down to the jam. It's time to get down, it's time to get down, it's time to get down to the jam. I said it's time to get down to the know, it's gonna get on down with the know. On the morning coffee show, on morning coffee with Keith, here on Pop Culture Minefield.
Excuse me, can I get a cup of coffee? Black? Can't you see we talking? White?
Today, we are about to do a live show, and the Master of Ceremonies has finally just arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, Keith, get up here.
Hey.
You know, you would show up. I started the show.
I just love Microsoft. I do. I love Microsoft. They're great. Especially when they decide, hey, it's time for a new way to advertise. And hey, here's an update just for you, buddy.
Hey, did you see your new theme song played?
I loved it. Look, let me tell you, man. As I said before, I am honored and deeply touched by what you did. Nobody's first of all ever written any kind of song for me ever, so you're the first. Again, the words "thank you" just can't even seem to cover it. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed doing it. Who's all here? Andy's here right now. Happy Treason Day. We got that. So, yeah.
Treason Day. Yes. I call it Breakup Day.
Yeah. I like the lyrics, by the way, to that song. It's like, let's get down to the know. Dropping some knowledge.
I was telling Mel about it, and I said, the only downside was the fact that I just kept thinking, this song should be longer.
I could make them longer. I just, I try to keep it about a minute.
Yeah.
For the opening titles. Oh, Martin, I'm sorry. I started the show without you.
I know. It's okay.
I actually started it before Keith got here. I was like, fuck it. I'm starting the show. I'll get it going. And Keith, but the minute that I was playing the titles, there he is. He popped in. I went, whoa. And then William Shatner showed up and did like, good morning, people. We are here to watch Keith Moncrief.
It's appropriate that we have Shatner because given the story that's broken, we may actually get Shatner in the end. We may actually
get him in the end. Like in the butt?
Oh my God. No, please.
For all you Star Trek fans out there, and especially since Gary and I started down this road of talking about Paramount and K-Trek, it's looking like they may have reached the end of the road with that. The breaking news from technically 2 days ago, but definitely breaking news yesterday, was it looks like Skydance has reached a deal with Paramount Global. Mr. Ellison is really a lot like his dad. He's relentless. There's something that he wants, and he went after it. And unfortunately for Alex Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams, most billionaires are men of their words, which means that if, there's still a 45-day window, but if everything's approved, then Mr. Ellison will start doing his best impersonation of David Zaslav, and he's starting with his favorite two people at the top of his list, which is
He's
Alex
going to be
Kurtzman.
like Caligula with his lawnmower scene.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but
By the
instead of
way,
yeah,
did you see that they are releasing a very special edition of that film that's cleaned up? I think they're putting it out in 4K, and on top of that, restored to what it should have been, rather than a semi-porn.
wow,
Focusing
that
on the
part I
actors.
didn't know.
They're
real-
restoring scenes that had been previously cut from the film, put back in the film. Because Bob Guccione was a fucking prick. He tricked these actors, legit actors, into being into this, classic tragedy and horror story of Caligula, and turned it into a porno.
Yeah,
Because Bob Guccione is a fucking perv.
yeah.
Not in a good way, though.
The real question is, would be Caligula using a lawnmower? Whoa! Look at
Hello.
Is that Das Wolfen? Oh my god!
Yeah.
I haven't seen
This
you
is-
in forever.
Yep, I'm not working or doing anything today, so right now, so I wanted to pop on and say hey.
Hey, man, look.
I'm trying to say hi too, because I don't get to see Keith very often, so, and I wanted to pop on just to say hi and see what was going on. See who's in the chat too. Gap After Dark is here. Good morning, Gap. Wolverine 626 is here.
And Andy Morrow.
Wow.
Yes,
I'm
Wishing
honored.
you a
I'm,
very
I'm,
happy Treason Day.
I'm honored to have a reunion of the OG crew and on the show, which is more than enough reason for all of you out there who have not gone ahead and just done what you should do to make us a little more popular on YouTube, to just do your thing, as I like to say. Wow. I first of all, John, good seeing you, buddy. You are looking fantastic nowadays. I've been keeping up with you on Facebook, so you are looking real good nowadays. And congratulations to both you and your fiance and everything you guys are doing, man. Big fan of yours, man.
Yeah, we're almost to the point to set a date, so
That's good. Good. Let me know.
That's why it's called an engagement. You better find a date. There you go.
Gap.
Wow.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Wolverine 626. Yes. Again, this is a business owned by a billionaire, or in this case, the son of a major tech billionaire. He's relentless, and personally, at the way he's going, there's something that he really wants from Paramount. And on top of that, the cherry on top is getting basically the opportunity to tell two people to go to F themselves. And he's proudly taking that on. Anybody out there that still believes that Kurtzman Trek will survive after this, or all you people that want to talk about how Prodigy has new episodes on Netflix, needs to realize something. Gary and I talked about this way back.
Ad nauseum.
This is part of the contract they had with Nickelodeon. They were always going to get 2 seasons. Okay? What happens after? Prodigy could survive. Lower Decks could survive. Hell, technically, Strange New Worlds could survive.
Hope none of them do, unless they change course.
Yeah, you want to go the Steve Rogers route in Captain America Winter Soldier when he was, talking to Fury. It's like it's all got to go. It's all got to go. And but the only way
like
those
Gary
others...
Oldman in The Professional. He goes, "How many do you want me to
Everyone.
get? All of them." So, hey, before I go, I gotta bounce. I wanted to share this song. Did you get it, Martin?
Okay. Yeah.
I messaged
let
you
me-
in the. the private chat?
Yeah,
'Cause I gotta get
I
going.
will.
I gotta go finish my laundry, and we're getting ready to have a cook-in.
Let
4th of
me.
July. Happy 4th of July, guys.
Hey, happy 4th of July, aka breakup day. So
Oh, and for you, Martin, Cinco de Mayo.
You know, Cinco de Mayo is not the
Happy
right.
wow.
Liberty Day of
No,
Venezuela from
no.
commies.
Oh, on Venezuela is tomorrow, is July the 5th, our Independence Day.
No shit.
Yep.
Oh wow, fuck! I just made a joke and it ended up not being funny because it's true.
Oh, you said Mayo is not May is not July. Okay.
July. Fuck you. Play the song. This is my new song. It is for veterans, about combat veterans. It's heavy. Go for
Okay,
it.
here we go. Which I cannot hear, but okay.
That sounds like crap.
Well, no, I don't hear it.
It sounds like crap. Sounds all tinny and shit. I'm going to switch studios because you put it in the other studio, didn't you?
No, I haven't. I haven't played this one. Okay, I'm gonna download it.
Okay. It'll work better because I don't know why it does that. Like sometimes when you share, not you, but in general, when people share, it just sounds tinny to the other people. And that
If
song
it
needs to
sounds
be
at all.
loud. That thing needs to be loud.
Used to shake the speakers.
Yes, you should look to your left at that speaker, and that woofer should be going. Because there's a lot of guitar in this, a lot of power drums, and
it all goes to
bass.
10. If you're
Yes.
lucky, to 11.
11. Yeah, yeah, mate. See, normally they go to 10, but mine goes to 11. Well, why don't you just make 10 louder? It goes to 11. I love that movie.
Yeah,
I can't
it's
stand
downloading now.
Rob Reiner, but goddamn, he's directed some great films. So, did you download it? Is it working for you?
It is uploaded.
Oh, that's very good to hear.
Can you
Ran
come
into,
again?
ran into someone the other day. They had never watched the movie Step Brothers before.
Right.
So I described the movie Step Brothers. It's like, dude, it's the funniest thing you can ever watch. Watch Step Brothers.
You just imagine two children, stepbrothers, and then describe all the shenanigans and then go, and by the way, the stepbrothers aren't children. They're 30-something-year-old men acting like
Nah.
they're little kids.
I can.
We just become best friends? Yup.
Yes. I think he had asked me where that saying that I used the other day came from, which is like, somebody asked me how I was doing. It's like, I'm snapping necks and cashing checks.
Okay, we're
Oh,
ready.
you got it. You got it. Yeah, let's go.
Yep. Here we go.
Darkest night, we hold on tight. The flare burns bright, yet it brings no light. Chaotic shadows on the ground, yet we make no sound. Like hardened steel, we do not break down, and we feel the flow in every cell in this fucking hell. Then we feel each blow through our skin, like our every sin. Deep within this flesh and bone, let its own flow. And the people walking by will never know. And the blood we spilled on the ground man at my side, and we feel the flow in every cell. This fucking hell. Then we feel each blow through our skin like our every sin. Deep within this flesh and bone lies its own flow, and the people walking by will never know. And the blood we spilled on the ground had its own flow, and the pain for the souls we lost we must never show. We must never show. We must never show. We do as we're told. We are lost in the flow. In the flow. We do as we're told. And we are lost in the flow. We do as we're told. And we are lost in the flow. We are lost in the flow. We are lost in the flow, in the flow, in the flow. We do as we are told.
There you go.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, it was good.
That is an incredible just debut from Cohen's Ghost, everybody, aka my good buddy and good friend Gary Cassell. Thank you very much, my friend.
I wanted to prove that, you know, because I always write these like sensitive songs, that I can do hard rock. And so I started writing stuff. And that one is something I started on years ago, and I finished it this year and ended up just reworking it. And because originally it had a more brooding feel to it. And I just went, no, I'm going to go like hardcore metal on that. And it fucking worked. And again, that's not my voice. That is a simulation of my voice through AI, which I do the pitch correction first and then do the AI replacement.
Wow.
Because I can't sing like that. I wish I could. But Mac can. And we're going to re-record all of my songs with live music set of synthesizers.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Badass though. Even the way it is, like somebody said I should still go ahead and release it as is. And I'm like, I don't know, I feel weird about that because I really want the band to play it.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, I don't know. Do you know Jimi Hendrix in Springfield?
No.
It's Jimi Hendrix Hill. That's his real name.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy is an amazing guitarist. He's got his just finished getting his PhD, and he still wants to jam with me. So I'm like, oh, that's fucking nice.
Wow.
That's good.
Wow. Impressive.
But anyway, happy 4th of July, guys. I've got to go finish my laundry. John, good seeing you, man. You look great. You look great.
Thanks.
What's amazing is the more weight you've lost, the more like Michael Douglas you don't look like anymore. You look more like him when you're heavier. That's it's a version of a joke that was made to me when my ex-mother-in-law said, you know, you look like Orson Welles when he was fat. And I'm like, if I look like him when he's fat, I should look like him when he's thin. Nope. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Wow.
So let's see. I want to see who all's here now. We got Penny's here. Good morning, Penny. Shanatsky's here. And that's it. I've said hi to everybody else. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. You can get back to your show. Keith, good seeing you. I'm glad you like the theme song. I really am.
I love it. I love it.
And I guess I need to make one for John's gaming, so we stop getting claimed on whatever he's doing from Pandora. Pandora keeps fucking claiming us every fucking show. I don't get it.
Yeah.
What is Pandora?
It's
You
a
guys know
music
what that is?
streaming service.
It's the name of the track.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we got to replace it because it keeps getting claimed. It's ridiculous. So I guess I just need to write a heavy metal gaming song for John, so you can have that. We don't have to play that Pandora anymore.
But we're not using it anymore.
When was the last? I don't think I've seen a claim in a while. Last week was the last. I saw some claims last week. There were 2 claims in there. Yeah, there were 2 claims in there, and I got rid of them. I just
That's
basically
impressive.
mute it because it's only a minute. It's like mute it. View options. Let me see. Wonder what if we got a new one yet. Yep, ineligible. Yeah, mine.
Which one?
For one, it's the one with the music in it. I just looked at the time code on it.
No. Give me the date. The date of the show.
No, this is from the show yesterday. I'm just trimming it out. It didn't like any of the clips because there's fucking music on it. I told you. I fucking hate that. I got to find a way to get rid of the fucking. Oh my god! Fuck you. I fucking hate YouTube. I really do. They are such assholes. See, the last one was game night was for the Pandora, and I removed that, and that was from. There's a date on it. Detroit Become Human. This game is great. Whatever.
Oh,
night
that's
that was.
months ago.
Yeah.
It's-
I think that the last three shows we've been using different track that I made on with AI.
Yeah, AI is
So-
playing my music. Although I'd rather have a Cohen's Ghost song.
Yeah, I'll do one for you too. I made one for the chief, but I'm not sure if he's gonna like it because I did it like a '50s TV show theme about cops, and I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll have to play it for him see if he likes it. If not, I'll go for something more modern. But yeah, I can do something with that. Because I make the themes they're only a minute long, and so I just write one verse and one chorus, and the chorus is always that's game night with John on Pop Culture Minefield. That's the chorus. David Cage sucks. What the fuck are you talking about?
What?
Who's David Cage?
I don't know. It's Chernowski. You never know what he's talking about.
Panaski, I think you're doing a show without us.
Yeah.
And
It's
your
the-
Neil Gaiman joke, ouch, dude.
You should actually say it 3 times, then it's funnier. What goes into the housemaid 3 times? Neil Gaiman. Because then it becomes funny. Anyway, all right. I'm going to get out of here, guys. Have a good day today. Happy 4th of July. Be safe, everyone.
You too, buddy.
Have a good
guys.
one. See you, Gary.
See ya.
Well, wow, it's good having Gary. It's good having everybody. So I am truly honored today. Let's see. Today's show, as I had previously stated, was going to cover, first of all, the big news about Skydance and Paramount. And really, at the center of it, that a lot of us big geeks are excited about is what Skydance is going to do once they have full control over the company, which is the head of Skydance has made it known that he is not a fan of Alex Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams for 2 different reasons. Different reason for each person. And he wants it known that as soon as he takes control, that's in that order, that's how they're being fired.
Okay.
So all of you who are fans of anything connected to Kurtzman track need to understand that as far as he's concerned, that time is over. Now, could some of it survive? You could allow Lower Decks Prodigy, and maybe even Strange New Worlds to survive. But it's what you'd have to do in order to get them to survive that a lot of you people who are fans of those things might not like. First and foremost, any references at all, both in terms of visually as well as lines and shows, references to characters, storylines, would have to be removed if they are connected to K-Trek in any way. That's the first thing. Second thing would be a massive firing of all the writers and the replacement of those writers with real writers who could actually write Star Trek. Meaning that with Strange New Worlds, you would have to basically gut that entire show. You're going to lose a lot of characters because a lot of those characters are tied into Kurtzman Trek. And pretty much the show would have to just basically be real Star Trek. No references to Michael Burnham at all. No references to any characters that look like they come from other TV shows. Even getting rid of the whole time travel thing with Khan. Probably getting rid of Khan's granddaughter. You would gut that entire show.
Come on, Keith, don't do this.
What do you mean?
Don't give me hope. You're muted, John.
Don't
give me hope.
I'm not trying to give you hope. I'm telling you what a billionaire said. And when you piss off a billionaire, you know, they're pretty relentless. And they're usually men of their words because they got the money to back it up. And again, I'm not the one that pissed him off. You know, I'm just glad that Alex Kurtzman this deal and found a way of basically pissing off a billionaire who have decided to make Alex Kurtzman his personal project. So, and with Prodigy will have to be gutted as well. Lower Decks would have to be gutted completely. You'd almost have to redo the entire show. You got to get rid of the costumes and any references to anything connected to Kurtzman Trek. So for those people going, well, they got Riker on there and they got... No. You don't understand. As much as everybody even liked Picard Season 3, you'd have to redo all of that. That's the reason why it all has to go. You can't use costumes. You can't use the badges the way they are. You can't use any of that stuff.
Otherwise,
and even
he gets a cut.
That's right. Any of the characters that were created through Kurtzman Trek, like David, Picard's son, and various other, you can't use those characters. You could get away with the same actors as long as you wrote them differently. Now are you understanding what's going on?
Yeah.
That's the reason why it all has to go. It's just easier just to get rid of everything and do something different. You'll have to come up with a different way of doing Star Trek Legacy, if that's really what you want to do. You'd have to come up with a different story. You'd have to come up with a different background for a character like Raffi. In fact, you can't even use the name Raffi. You'd have to name her something different. Everything would have to change. You could use the same actors. You just have to call them something different with different background stories.
It's a shame after Picard Season 3 finally made that character good.
Yeah, but then again, isn't it better to have real Star Trek writers write
Oh yeah,
the character?
yeah, of course.
And have a more natural way rather than having 7 of 9 having killed people to get to where she is to become a starship captain, because technically that's really what she did. If you count in what they did in the first 2 seasons of Picard, she was not a very nice person. And this whole thing within Kurtzman Trek, where it doesn't matter who the character is, you gotta be a killer or break a lot of laws and rules to be rewarded ultimately with having command. Whether you're talking 7 of 9 or even Michael Burnham.
It's almost like this is a mirror universe.
The entire thing is basically a mirror universe. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. Not a mirror universe, but it will all be relegated to a distant corner of Star Trek. Both Kurtzman Trek and of course JJ Trek will all be just regulated and sent off. Actually, I like the actress. She's a good actress.
Yeah.
I would just change her character. I would change it to where even she's not even a drug addict. She's just someone who decided to do something different with her life, and now she's being called back to service. Rewrite the whole. Just give her something better, you know. And Brad Wright's gonna be busy. Okay, Gap. Brad Wright has to finish doing something that was started or planned to do a year ago at San Diego Comic-Con, and they never got a chance to announce it because of reasons. Ultimately, the reason was that they pulled the announcement at the 11th hour. And it was an announcement that all you Stargate fans would have lost your heads over, because they had a few celebrities there waiting to come on stage, waiting to do this. And they were going to use it as a surprise for all of you Stargate faithful. And I'm almost hesitant to tell you what it is, even though I've talked about it on the show before. It's meant to be something huge. And that's the reason why, he's a big Star Trek fan. But personally, I think he would like to work on his own thing. Wolverine 626, even Star Trek Legacy needs to be wiped away. I like Picard Season 3, but the stink of what came before hangs over it.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of agree, Wolverine. Again, there's a lot of people out there who are competent writers, who are fans of Star Trek, but even more importantly, who are actual science fiction writers, who have written science fiction television shows and other things. A lot of the people who worked on The Expanse can still be hired away to work on anything else. There's a lot of different ways to go. Personally, I wouldn't mind if Brian Fuller came back and actually did his original version, the version that he actually created of Star Trek Discovery, and just call it something else. That would be poetic. To have a version of Stargate, to do the real Star Trek Discovery, and to do that the way that he had originally intended. Because that show would have been something to see. That'd also be kind of mean, and would be pretty much targeted really at everybody who had worked on it originally. And, that I don't have the money to be that vindictive. But the head of Skydance does.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much. It'd be the only time that I would actually agree pouring a lot of money into something would be justified. And I can think of a few actresses who I would hire to be Michael Burnham, and to rewrite that character. I guarantee you, there is one thing that Brian Fuller did indicate that I'm very curious about, which was to have Michael Burnham have a connection to Spock. Not necessarily his sister, but he had originally indicated that there was going to be a connection between Michael Burnham and Mr. Spock. So I would be very interested to see what that is. But Brian Fuller seems to be working on something right now. And it's going to take a while to undo a lot of this stuff. So who knows? His new job may not last. And again, I'm not hoping it doesn't. I'm not hoping that falls away. I hope he's successful what he's currently been tasked to do. But if that does not go, I think Skydance should be very interested to talk to Brian Fuller and to bring him back on, and for Brian Fuller to get together his own murderer's row of writers. And at the top of the list, he should just go ahead and hire people like J. Michael Straczynski and Brad Wright. See, Brad Wright will probably be running another show, but I would stop him from writing an episode. And if you give a lot of big name people the opportunity of writing an episode of Star Trek, you see what I'm saying? That would be huge. That would be huge. I think that that's really one of the few ways that could really point to something really big. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Because I still think that there's a lot of you out there that are kind of confused about really what this is going on. Variety from July 2nd. Skydance Media and National Amusements Incorporated reached new merger agreement for Paramount Global. Let's see. In a holiday week shocker, Skydance Media and Sherry Redstone's National Amusements Incorporated have quietly renewed acquisition talks and have reached a tentative agreement to acquire Paramount Global. That deal will now be reviewed by Paramount Global's special committee of its board of directors that has steered that media giant through its roller coaster ride of M&A activity and speculation since late last year. The new pact with David Ellison's Skydance Media and Gary Cardell's Redbird Capital is believed to include a 45-day period in which Paramount and NAI, which owns Redstone's controlling share in Paramount, have the right to shop around for a bidder to match Skydance terms. National Amusements abruptly ended months of talks with Skydance on June 11th, saying it had concerns about the ability for the company and its partners to close the proposed $6 billion transaction. It's not immediately clear if the economic terms of the new agreement have changed markedly from the pact that fell apart last month. A source close to the situation said Skydance still balked at National Amusements' request that the company's non-controlling shareholders get a chance to vote on the deal. The hope was that approval by a majority of common shareholders would help indemnify Redstone from inevitable shareholder lawsuits. Redstone owns some 77% of voting shares in Paramount. Common shareholders were quick to publicly criticize the terms of the Skydance deal as they steadily leaked out via media in April and May. Paramount Global shares have been hammered for the year to date, dropping 28%. On Tuesday, however, the stock shot up nearly 6% during regular trading and hopped another 8% in after hours activity on the heels of the Skydance headlines as well as the BET network sell chatter. The 45-day window for Paramount and NAI seek a superior bid may be an artful solution to the impasse over Redstone's push for a common shareholder vote. The Skydance perspective, the reason to engage with NAI in its pursuit of Paramount was to take advantage of the fact that Redstone's NAI had ironclad control of the company. But from Redstone's view, the Skydance deal was likely to be bound up in costly litigation for months, while the company would likely struggle amid the uncertainty. Representatives for Paramount Global, NAI, and Skydance declined to comment. The surprise of the return of Skydance to the mix capped a busy 24 hours of rumors about the possible fate of Paramount Global and its assets. Late Monday, word surfaced that Barry Diller's IAC was mulling a run at National Amusements in order to get a hold of Paramount. That rumor brought a historical perspective to the frenzy around the studio, as Diller, who formerly ran Paramount and 20th Century Fox and launched the Fox broadcast network, previously fought hard against Redstone's father, the late Sumner Redstone, for the prize of owning Paramount in 1993 and 1994. Like I've been saying, guys, this is Game of Thrones, dude. This is Game of Thrones. That's the reason why I keep watching and reading all this stuff. Just the behind the scenes, just theatrics, and the personal, just infighting, and the reasons why certain people are doing things. This is freaking Game of Thrones, and I find this fascinating. So there is a lot to this. Thank you, Stream Elements. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm telling you right now, Paramount really is a prize. This has been one of the biggest head scratchers to me. If somebody 10 years ago had said that it would come to this, I wouldn't have believed it. Paramount is a prize studio. Paramount owns a lot. There is a lot that could be done. You know, I think it's sad though, with all of the online stuff that's been going on over the last few weeks. Any of you that are my age or just slightly younger, what I'm talking about is the whole shutting down of MTV News Online and all of the stuff connected to it. And as we get closer and closer to the 13th of July and what it means, not to have access to any of the online stories that MTV was a part of for all their years when they were around and music was still important and music videos were important and a lot of news was being made. A lot of that stuff got shut. A lot of fans could not access that anymore. And especially with July 13th coming up, we are now right at this year, this July 13th will be 39 years since the concert. You know? Wow.
Yep.
Wow, 39 years. It's even saying it out loud, I can't believe it. Wow. God, I'm old. Okay, hold on. Moment of shock. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So hopefully, Skydance will help to control a lot of this and help Paramount turn around. Once this goes through, the 3 co-CEOs will no longer be doing what they're doing right now. Personally, I believe at least one of the CEOs will be very happy with this development. I'm looking right at you, Brian Robbins. And the other 2, as far as I'm concerned, can just go and touch grass. Especially the guy for CBS, because George Cheeks, F you, dude. Look, those of you familiar with the whole Paramount and Star Trek thing knows who George Cheeks is. He's the genius that kept giving Alex Kurtzman renewals on his contract. So you can go sit and spin, dude. Dad man walking. Good morning and happy 4th of July. Hey, good morning and happy breakup day to you too, Dad man. It is hold on. Wolverine 626 said something tells me that if Diller had been able to defeat Redstone, Paramount would be a lot healthier today, and they would own Marvel, not Disney. Something I agree with you. Barry Diller's a shark. That dude is the human dagger. He knows how to get right to the heart of it. Diller would have made Paramount huge. And considering, I think Paramount originally was the studio that Marvel had made the deal for Iron Man and Captain America originally. So the first 2 of their films came out through Paramount. So they never would have lost all of that. I agree that Diller probably would have made the deal for Marvel. Wow. 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 So what do you guys think? What do you guys think?
Well, I think that it's going to be a very interesting 6 months
Mm-hmm.
because that's about how long it'll take for all this to shake out, I imagine.
Yeah, I think about 6 months, because once it gets through the initial stuff, the 45-day, the government still has to go over it, but it may not. The thing about this deal is, hold on, Wolverine 66 says, Paramount lost a step by losing Marvel. A step, yes, but considering what the properties and stuff they had, the people that are currently running CBS, because at the time when all this was going down, it eventually became CBS Paramount. CBS was the lead dog on it. And CBS, in my opinion, helped to ruin this entire situation. Those guys had no idea what the blank they were doing. I don't know what kind of side deal they had with Sumner Redstone to become lead dog and to allow everybody connected to that to have more of a say, let alone to get the rights to Star Trek for free. They got it for nothing. Nothing. So they knew they wanted to do something with it. And they have CBS is the one that really has ruined all of this. That's the reason why, as far as I'm concerned, stuff those guys. All their representatives. Brian Robbins said long ago, when he gained control, that he believed that Star Trek was the key to the future of what they needed to do. And so he understands how important Star Trek is. And he was one of those people that said, look, they need a change, a massive change. And they need to get back to what they were doing years ago and not this current stuff. I agree.
Yep.
So, this is big news. It's surprising news for many. But then again, as I said earlier, you're dealing with a billionaire here, or at least in this case, the son of a billionaire. He knows how this works. And Skydance really is aiming to turn this whole thing around, because Paramount, led by their CBS people, Paramount has been basically just, they have just been laid waste. They're not even a shadow of their former selves now. And it's time for the adults to take back over and to bring this company back. And if that starts to happen, if Star Trek starts to creatively get its act together and get rid of all these bozos that are currently somehow connected to it, this could be one of the major turning points in the entertainment industry right now. Star Trek coming back and doing what it was doing before means that Disney's going to have to make a decision about what they want to do with Star Wars and Marvel. Because if Star Trek gets rolling again, and what I mean is, if they can get the fan base back to 2005, back before the fan base was ripped apart by idiots who didn't know what they were doing, and projects that were just ill-conceived, they will essentially inherit a lot of fans who have been looking for a place to go that treats the fans well and that treats the source material with dignity. That's really all they want. Hey, Penny, happy 4th to you, my lady. Shanatsky, they've already damaged it. This trek has been going on since 2009. Guess what? It's what most people who aren't fans think. And it's great, but you know what? Just like we had, they're going to have to deal with it. Because Shinatsky, I understand what you're saying, except for one thing. If these people are fans, they're not spending money on any of the merchandise. That's the whole thing right there.
Yeah.
2005, people were still spending a lot of money on Star Trek, way more than they are now. Way more than they are now. And compared to where Star Wars and Marvel are right now, Star Trek going back to 2005 would be very noticeable. That's how bad things overall are now. Things are so bad. If they are able to get Star Trek and its fan base back to where they were in 2005, that would be a noticeable thing. It'd probably be very close to a win. Kingsport Kyle says, I always wonder why y'all keep talking about this Paramount thing so much. Then I remember Star Trek. Star Trek's part of it. I keep bringing it up because I love Star Trek. But it's part of it. You know, they have Top Gun. They have Mission Impossible. They have other properties. I mean, if Barry Diller had been running Paramount, I think he would have been able to talk Tom Cruise into eventually going full circle with Mission Impossible and talking him into a Mission Impossible television series. At the very least, as he's winding down the Mission Impossible movies.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be ironic for a show that began on television and to take it back to television. Let's see, Shinatsky, that's the point. Before into the 09, they had a fan base. Now they don't, outside of the hardcore like you, Keith, and there aren't enough of you. No, I know that. I know that. But what I'm saying is getting rid of the people who have ruined Star Trek at this point and bringing back people who are fans and who are capable would, I think, bring back more of the fan base. And again, just like with Star Wars, although I don't think we're going to see it with Star Wars, you know, the thing for a lot of Star Wars fans is they don't just want to go back to what they knew. They want to scrap Disney Star Wars. Well, guess what? You got the opportunity to scrap Kurtzman track. Ellison's not just doing it to take over and to do what Kurtzman was doing better. He wants to scrap this. It's crap. So whether, you know, here's the thing. What Star Wars fans have always wanted, that's what Trek fans are about to get. It would be different if we were talking about someone taking over Kurtzman Trek and doing it better. What we're talking about is scrapping the whole thing because Ellison doesn't want to give Kurtzman any money. And Wolverine626 says Kurtzman Trek is by far way worse than JJ Trek. At least JJ Trek wasn't pretending to be in the same timeline as the OG. You are right about that. And if I were to attempt to talk Mr. Ellison into keeping any of those, I would at least attempt to allow him to, you know, see if he would be allowed, if he could allow JJ to extend JJ Trek. But he's a billionaire. He knows what he wants. And JJ found a way of pissing him off too. So in my mind, you know, either, you know, while we would like to see one stay and the other go, if they both have to go to help Star Trek back to where it was, so be it. You know, and again, I like the actors that JJ had, but they've already had 3 movies. And in order to fix that situation, you need to understand that they're going to have to renegotiate with all the actors now. And they're going to be asking for a lot more money. People keep also pointing out the whole Zoe Saldana comment about wanting to do another movie. Well, there's a reason for that.
She must get paid.
Yeah, she can get paid a heck of a lot more than what she would have made had they made that a few years ago. Because she was under a contract that kept her pay under a certain amount. Now that they've gone beyond that time for all of the actors, they have to renegotiate with everybody. And they're all going to ask for a lot more money. So potentially you could be looking at another JJ Trek film that could get close to spending close to $100 million, give or take, prior to anything being written or anything being filmed, just to get all of the actors paid. Think about that. So that's another reason why JJ Trek has to go. It'd be too expensive to bring back all those actors.
Yeah.
And again, I like all those actors. They have great chemistry together. They have better chemistry than any group of people connected to Kurtzman Trek.
Yeah, but I don't care.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know,
I don't want to go to this route of recast the original casting. No. Give me a new crew. Give me new
Yeah.
stories.
yes,
Set it on the future. Stop with the freaking prequels.
yes,
My
yes. That's it. And I'm thinking that's where we'll go next. But I think the thing that they're going to have to do first is clean all this out, get rid of all of it. They're going to have to debug Star Trek and just de-Kurtzmanify it. And
I got
yeah, I agree. No, I agree, Wolverine. It has to be budgeted at 100 million or less.
Yep.
But if you can't do that, if you want all these actors to be in it, there you go. That's the question. How do you get the next Trek movie to be $100 million or less?
Use newcomers.
That's it. Or you use the script that my other twin brother R&B talked about, which was Star Trek The Beginning. Do that one.
Hire the team that did Godzilla -1.
Oh my God, you're a genius.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's possible. I think it's possible for... Look, Paramount can truly come back if they have a string of hits with movies that cost $100 million or less. That's the best way to do it. I think that at this point that is really what they're aiming for, because Paramount's stock alone, Kurtzman and his ilk and others have just brought the stock of this company down. So for all of you people making the argument, well, you know, they only know Kurtzman Trek. Yeah. And look how long it took them to do that. Since 2017. Realistically, it's not been that long.
Nope.
So guess what? You got used to that. Well, surprise, surprise, get used to this. You know, I'm just saying, it'll be a lot easier to get back a lot of people that you lost with this move than it would be to continue going with the people who are currently causing all of the problems, both with Star Trek and with Paramount as a functioning company for now. And it's barely functioning. At the current rate Paramount's going, Paramount was going to basically falter and be sold off in pieces. With this turnaround and a new group running it and some new deals being made, you might be able to keep all these pieces together and move forward with something that people actually like. And again, anybody making the argument for Kurtzman Trek, look, I know you mean well, but the numbers and the money's not on your side. Nobody's watching this stuff collectively.
Some people just want the world to burn.
Yeah. Nobody's watching. That's the other thing. There's a reason why people keep talking about Picard season 3, because it was the only Kurtzman Trek related project to ever even make it into the Nielsen top 10. Only. That's it. Only. And again, when Star Trek Discovery made its date, you know how they're getting ready to put Tulsa King on CBS network TV? They did that with Star Trek Discovery. Discovery lost to Batwoman.
Yeah.
It lost to the worst show on TV. And on top of that, when the number one streaming service in the world, which Netflix was at that time, tells you that nobody is watching because they were responsible for Discovery outside the United States, you got a problem.
I have a surprise for you.
Yeah.
I have a surprise for you. Look who's here.
Here we go.
Morning.
Hello,
Prince of
Shinosky.
Evil.
I'm finally waking up. I can talk.
Hey.
How are you, my friend? Man, I've been missing you here.
Wow, Martin, you're getting better at lying.
Fuck off, Shinosky. You know I love you.
See? Already? There we are.
Well,
that's my reward for being kind to people.
hey, you know I still love you, Martin. Come on, you the man. Monkey Jeebus says, I'd rather stare at a wall than watch gay Star Trek. Look, there's nothing wrong with gay Star Trek, seriously. It's just wrong that the people who were in charge of Kurtzman Trek didn't know how to write. Because it isn't whether or not it's gay or not. It's whether or not it's good storytelling, good scripts. And you have all of these very talented actors and actresses and others, and you're wasting them with bad storytelling. And you're going out and spending way too much money to do this. It's just...
Keith,
yeah.
The problem is you're looking at this from logics and from the standpoint of results mattering. And that's not the world these people live in.
I get that. But these people that have done this are getting a wake-up call from someone who just basically wants to get paid. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. David Ellison is doing this because two of these people who live in that world had a deal with him and didn't pay up. So this is the real world crushing in on them going, hey, we know you like to live in your fantasy world, but here in the real world, you do a deal, you sign a contract with somebody, you're expected to pay up. If you don't, this is what happens. And again, he can afford to do this. He can afford to make this personal because he's a freaking billionaire. This is the reason why one of Keith's rules is you never want to piss off a billionaire because they have all the time and all the money to make you their personal pet project.
And all the lawyers.
And all the lawyers. So, hey, you can believe whatever you want to believe. And again, they could just as easily do for Star Trek and make it good. In fact, there's two ways to go. You could either go the direction that they took The Expanse, or you can go the direction that Kurtzman went. I think everybody would agree that if you're going to do it, go the direction of The Expanse. Because The Expanse did it right.
That would make sense. But here's the problem. Their vision for what the world should be. And this is one of the things I realized after that one interview with the Disney guy.
Yeah.
The people at the top believe in this shit.
Yes.
So they believe if they do DEI that they'll actually expand out the market for the thing. They just have to get over the initial hump. Just that hump just keeps going on and on and on.
Yeah. Well, but again, you notice how many billionaires are down with this. You know?
Yeah. And
David Ellison,
they take their money when they realize they can't get ahead. They can't.
David Ellison has had his money taken and he sees no results. So he wants results. Look, There is technically there is no reason why he should be doing this. This company's going down in flames. It is. So why would you want to take it on unless you think you can actually do something with it? And given who his dad is, given what his father was able to accomplish going up against Microsoft, if I were to believe in one person, it would be David Ellison to do this. Because Larry Ellison had to basically literally move mountains. And look at how successful he is. Going up against Microsoft at a time when everybody said, oh, there's no way you could take on Microsoft. Microsoft's too big. Microsoft owns it. Well, Larry Ellison's made himself quite a pretty penny going up against Microsoft.
Yep.
His son is the same way. People are telling him he can't do it. You know, but on top of that, he learned the rule that all billionaires learn, which is somebody wrongs you, and you have every right to go after him. And so he's going after him. I mean, again, as I said at the very beginning, this could be the signal and the start of something different. If David Ellison has success doing this, especially with Star Trek. If Star Trek is able to find its way, even somewhat back to normal, quote unquote, i.e. 2005, it would still be more of a success than anything else out there. And Disney is going to have to deal with it. I'm not saying Disney is going to start making major changes. But if Star Trek's fan base goes back to what it was in 2005, and at least starts buying merchandise and treating everything like they did in 2005, that's still going to be way better than where Marvel and Star Wars is right now. And again, you got to remember, Paramount was headed into nothingness. If he can turn it around to get it back to that level, that's a miracle. I'm not saying Paramount's ultimately going to win over everything. I'm not saying that at all. Billionaires have their own way of doing things. And two people who thought they were something pissed a billionaire off. Let's see, Monkey Jeebus says they should do a prequel series on Mission Impossible with the original group in the 60s setting up the agency that Ethan Hunt works for now. Hey, that's great. That's a cool idea. Just getting Mission Impossible back on the small screen.
Would you really want that with basically showing the original protagonist for Mission Impossible basically just slowly going evil? Would you want that?
It could go anyway. It could go anyway. Look, what Tom Cruise has indicated is once he's done, he's done. So he's left no word as to how he wants to leave this. So the assumption is that he's just done with it. Now, I don't think he has television rights. He only has film rights to the idea. Meaning that Paramount at any time could have made their own Mission Impossible television series. But the people running Paramount Television, running Paramount really, were smart enough to understand the general public seemingly only understands the Tom Cruise version. And to attempt to launch anything on TV without connecting it to what they're doing in the movies would be suicide. That plus the fact that, Mission Impossible's been around technically as long as Star Trek. In fact, longer, technically. Slightly
There's
longer.
no person that you can turn it into a vehicle for. Like, it's somehow managed to work.
No, it's a team show. It was never a one-person show. For one thing, when I say Mission Impossible, the television series, in your head, you're probably thinking Peter Graves and the team. If that was your thought and your life depended on it, you just lost. Peter Graves was not the original star of the show. He didn't come on until season 2. Little bit of trivia for Mission Impossible. The original one
I'm talking
was,
about what the perception of it is now.
Yeah,
And the
I get what
perception
you're
of it
saying.
now is it's the Tom Cruise show.
It
with
is
supporting characters.
With supporting characters. Well, Tom Cruise will never do the television series. That's the reason why you got to make a deal with him, or at least try to get him to do something. Now, this is the reason why I think David Ellison isn't as mad at J.J. Abrams as he is at Alex Kurtzman. J.J.'s Star Trek is done. He would still technically have to negotiate with Tom Cruise and J.J. and a few others for Mission Impossible. But ultimately, Tom Cruise is the one that actually holds the rights, along with his ex agent, Miss Kennedy. So the two of them really hold the rights to Mission Impossible for film. And so whatever negotiation would have to literally include those two. You don't have to include JJ, but I think JJ and his storytelling and everything that he's done for the film series since starting with number 3 has helped to change everything that they've done. And especially the whole angle with Ethan Hunt's wife, now ex-wife. That character, I think, is a JJ character. So, and since she's in a majority of those movies moving forward, yeah, there'd have to be some negotiation. Some. I think it's possible. But if you really want to do this, you need to have Tom Cruise as a part of the discussion. He needs to almost pretty much approve whatever you're going to do. Now, David Ellison could decide, screw all that, trash it all, and go ahead and just start Mission Impossible on TV, because they own the rights to that. And considering that it's looking like Tom Cruise wants to end the movie series, that time would work out. And the time it would take to finish the last movie and put it out in theaters, that's just enough time for them to develop a brand new Mission Impossible series. All new characters and just do it all over again.
They'll run everything by him because they don't want to risk pissing him off.
That's
in
right.
Case he wanted to do more.
Yep. That's what I've been saying since the beginning. It's smart business. And you've got at this time, Paramount is where Marvel was in the 1940s. You're dealing with a company that is obviously smaller than everyone else. And it needs to hustle if it's going to become a bigger thing. Paramount has a lot of money. Or actually, I should say, Paramount is being run by someone with a lot of money. The key is being able to get this company to be healthy enough that banks are willing to lend and do business with it again. Because Skydance was one of the companies keeping Paramount going. So that really is the real goal, is to get Paramount healthy enough to where, financially, to where banks will want to do business with it again. And their stock can go up in price. So one of the keys they need in order to show that is they need to take some of these properties that are failing and either get rid of them. And when I say get rid of, temporarily stop and come back at a much later time. Or change out whoever's doing it and put in a brand new team and make it work. Kind of like a sports team. You got people saying, well, there's no way they can get rid of this. There's too many people used to the way this team is right now. They're so used to it, they'll never take it any other way. I beg to differ. You fire the coach. fire his coaching staff. If there are any players you want to keep, go ahead, but fire the players too. And let's just start this over. And that's exactly what you need to do with Star Trek.
If they were going to do that, they would have done it already.
No, the people that have been look, CBS is the one that actually has been controlling Star Trek. And out of all the companies connected to this, CBS is the one most infected with DEI. With David Ellison coming in and owning this thing, CBS is going to become his new pet project. Because the head of Paramount understands. Paramount's been trying to fight to get Star Trek back for a long time. This is one of the things that Sherry Redstone tried to do. But Sherry Redstone's an older woman. I mean, before she even thought about taking over for her dad, she raised a family, she had a business, she had a whole life. Okay? She's in her 70s now. And I think she was in her 60s when she took over. So David Ellison's he's not that old. I think David Ellison is either I think he's younger than I am. So he's someone in his 40s. So yeah, he's not going to give up. CBS and George Cheeks aren't going to do to him what they were able to do to Sherry Redstone. Again, he's a billionaire. He's the son of a major billionaire, Larry Ellison. He's not going to let George Cheeks, who is rich, but he's not a billionaire. There's a difference between rich and wealthy. Rich guys have what they do. Wealthy guys have an army of people who can actually do to rich people anything they want.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. That is the law of the jungle. That is the hierarchy there. And if George Cheeks continues to work against what this company needs, and again, remember, look at how their stock has gone. Their stock's about useless now. So if George Cheeks wants to continue to argue, the direction we're going is a great direction, he's an idiot. And David Ellison will be more within his rights to just basically, you know what? I think there needs to be a change.
Yeah.
So, George, why don't you go ahead and clean out your desk? Now, don't be sad. Don't be sad. Because your job's not going anywhere. It's still in the same place. It's just because somebody else will be doing it from here on out. But you can visit. You can visit anytime you want. But you just won't be here doing it, okay? So, and that's it. That's really what needs to happen. And overall, there's a reason why you have this hate of David Zaslav, because David Zaslav is one of these people that said, look, there's a lot of people saying stuff that don't have any business experience, and this Warner Brothers needs to raise a lot of money, so if we got to start cutting people, we will, but we got to make a decision. And all those people who decided they wanted to open their mouths at that time and express their opposition volunteered to leave their jobs.
Yeah. If you had a Zaslav, I'd say there might be something to what you're arguing.
What makes you think that David Ellison doesn't have it within him to be a Zaslav?
Until he actually does something, I'm just going to presume that he's going to follow the same playbook all these other people do. What I think's going on with Paramount is, I think it's the case of coming in, they're viewing it as a finished property. So it's basically other people's money, just trying to prop up the value, sell off it for as high as you can get it.
That'd be great. David Ellison comes in, he just wants to be there as they're selling everything off. But there is that. There really is that.
I mean, think of it from a business perspective. What is the more logical thing to do? Try to save a company which, at its very core, the core of the management and everything else is inherently flawed and already heading for disaster? Or will it still has some value to work on just propping it up, announce a couple projects and other things, i.e. what they've already been doing, but then actually go through with the sell? Because they've already almost had it. And he's probably just upset that Sherry blocked the way. Just talking from a purely business standpoint.
Well, first of all, the original CEO of Paramount Global lost his job because he was doing deals outside of the board. He was acting like he was Bob Iger or something. That's not the way it should work. If you're going to do this, you have to find a legal way of doing it. And being a CEO, you can't start making deals without telling the board. And he was making all kinds of deals. So that meant he was volunteering to go do that for someone else. That's the reason why he lost his job. With David Ellison, if he were one of these people that actually believed that the direction they were going would allow him to make more money and blah, 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 he would just allow JJ to stay and make his Star Trek movies, and he wouldn't say anything about Alex Kurtzman. He'd allow Kurtzman to continue to do what he's doing and make George Cheeks happy and keep CBS doing what they're doing. No. That's not the way Larry Ellison, his dad, taught him. And that's not how he's had some problems. Look, if they truly believed in all that, they would have stayed a part of Paramount and never would have left. They never would have stopped associating themselves with Star Trek. JJ would have had his movie by now. He would have done another Star Trek film. Hello, Courtney.
Hey.
I believe that he wants to make some changes. Now, could he down the road be setting the company up to eventually be sold and sell for a much higher price? Yes. Yes, he could be. But more important than even that, on a personal level, all these people made a mistake in pissing him off. They disrespect. This is the equivalent of being on the street and disrespecting somebody, and somebody decides to pull out a weapon and shoot you. This is going to happen. This is like falling out of an airplane without a parachute. This is going to happen. That's what you got to deal with on the way down. This is going to happen. Now, whether or not it'll be successful, that's a different thing. But this will happen. Kurtzman Trek is done. That part with David Ellison taking over, that's pretty much a guarantee. Kurtzman Trek is done. No amount of anything's going to be able to change his mind, because in order to do a season 3 and beyond of, say, even Prodigy, you're going to have contracts signed. And the only contracts signed were for 2 seasons through Nickelodeon, with Nickelodeon paying for a majority of it. Now you're going to have to negotiate a season 3 and more. That's not happening. Why? Because, Kurtzman's gone. That's the reason why he's been losing. Kurtzman will not be allowed to do anything with Star Trek. They'll keep his ass on. He just won't be doing anything Star Trek. Period. And Ellison will take his ass on. If he wants to make this a legal thing, Ellison's ready to go. If he wants to make this a street fight, Ellison's ready to go. Kurtzman is like that rat. He's got no place to go. And he realized that's the reason why he's been freaking out the last couple of months. That's the reason why he's been announcing, acting like he's actually trying to do something. This deal, that deal. He's trying to make something happen. He's a hustler. He ain't a hustler. He realizes that he pissed off the wrong person. And his days are numbered. Wolverine? No. I'm telling you right now, even if Netflix asks, it's still a big no. Because Ellison won't let that stand. It has ties to Kurtzman and will get Kurtzman paid. It's the same thing like what people ask why things took so long going from Netflix to Marvel Studios with all of the Marvel characters on Netflix. You remember who was in charge of basically saying yay or nay on that one? Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige is the main reason why it's taken so long for the Netflix Marvel characters to join the MCU. David Ellison now is above that even. He can gum up those works anytime he wants. I'm pretty sure David will make a deal with Netflix saying, hey, if you want real Star Trek, we will do a deal with you. Although I think a lot of that is also going to depend on how the possibility of a deal with Max will go. Paramount Plus basically merging with Max from Warner Brothers. And to me, that right there shows that if you are Alex Kurtzman, you had to have been fearful because now you're entering in a deal with David Zaslav. And he's going to take one look at the numbers and everything and go, what the F is this? So one way or another, Alex Kurtzman was going to have to face David Zaslav or David Ellison, but he was gonna have a come to Jesus moment with somebody named David. That was gonna happen. But look, this has been a great discussion, and I'm sure there's a lot more to happen between now and then. We will continue to cover this as it happens. But for my money, you know, for those of you who are fans of Kurtzman Trek, look, I hope you've enjoyed every bit of it. I really do. I got nothing against you if you are a fan of Kurtzman Trek. If you enjoy it, enjoy it. Love it.
I don't.
But I'm part of, you know, I'm an OG Star Trek fan. And all we had for years was just 3 seasons. So the fact that you got what you got, enjoy that. You know, I think Alex Kurtzman and his people would just want to ask all you out there who are fans of his work why you never bought any of their merchandise. You know, but that's a question between you and him. I got nothing to do with that. I'm not interested in that. All I know is it's over. It's done. And no amount of talking to David Ellison's going to change his mind. I'm sure he and his people will, you know, they'll listen to your stories and they'll listen to how it's quote unquote changed your life and all that stuff. But in the end, Alex Kurtzman will be doing work for other people outside of Paramount in some capacity. And I wish him and Akiva Goldsman and all their all their writers, all the luck in the world finding work someplace else.
Allie bought me some Star Trek merchandise.
She did?
Yep. No, I got it back here. He just gave it to me this morning, so I haven't had a chance to do anything with it.
Is it real Star Trek merchandise or Kurtzman Star Trek merchandise?
No, it's real Star Trek merchandise.
Oh, looky. See?
It's a Quark.
It is
Hey,
Quirk.
show it again. Yeah, there you are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can count the Federation. They talk about money not mattering, but then they talk about payment.
Yeah, you lucked out, man. That's an incredible woman you got there.
Yeah, she also got me. She found it at a garage sale. She also got me Professor X from the first X-Men movie.
Wow.
Yeah, the
Well.
nice part about that figure is you can put the head on a Picard and there's no difference.
Good one, Shinatsky. But let's go ahead and instead of continuing to talk about an IP that has seen better days, living in the shadow, talk about a living shadow. Yes, I know that there are people who probably were not big fans of this movie. I like the movie. I'm not going to say I was the biggest fan of the film, but I like the film.
Cast is great for it.
The cast is incredible. Alec Baldwin, about
Ian
5
McKellen.
years. I think Alec Baldwin's 5 years removed from Beetlejuice. Ian McKellen, and I think he's about 6 or 7 years removed from the first time I ever saw him in The Keep. And then John Lone, about 5 or 6 years removed from his Academy Award nominated performance in Iceman with Timothy Hutton, which, again, if you've never seen that movie, you need to watch it. It is a really, really well done film. Penelope Ann Miller is about 5 or 6 years removed from Adventures in Babysitting. And of course, Jonathan Winters, who that's what surprised me in this movie was Jonathan Winters. I liked him. You know, I've always liked Jonathan Winters. I think if there is one person who I think had the capacity to do whatever he wanted to do, it's Jonathan Winters. And the guy was just a genius. He's one of the few people that I think consistently found ways of even making Robin Williams laugh. You know, that takes something. That takes something if you really want to do that. Peter Boyle, who played Mo, the cab driver. Nowadays, people know him as the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond. Tim Curry, Farley Claymore, hamming it up in this movie, and having fun. And I think he's about 5 or 6 years removed from being in the movie Legend. So, all directed by Russell Mulcahy, who was about 5 or 6 years removed from his movie Highlander. And the film was made for $48 million. So they got a lot out of $48 million.
Yeah.
Thank
if
you,
you're an
Monkey.
actual Shadow fan, it is kind of weird though, because they just flat out have him just no, he was always Lamont Cranston.
Well, my thing about it, how I first came to know that this film was coming, was the fact that there had been talk of a Shadow film coming, and one of the people who had wrote a screenplay for it was Sam Raimi. And when they decided to go with this script rather than Sam Raimi's script, Sam Raimi turned his Shadow script into a different movie and made it, and the movie was successful. And that was Darkman.
Yep.
And I've always wanted to see what Raimi would have done with the Shadow.
It's even worse than that. He tried again later, and it just kept getting shut down. Because the problem with the Shadow is Condé Nast, which is the company that buying the original publisher, just does not know how to handle the character. Like they'll make money off licensing him, but they took the Shadow as a character who, at his height, or even during his decline, was more popular than Batman.
Was more popular than everybody. No. He was more popular than everybody. The Shadow is part of the original group of heroes prior to the rise of comic books and the coming of Superman. And one of the last heroes, I think, really that kind of straddled that line. I mean, you can find something in Doc Savage and the Shadow, in Buck Rogers, and in Flash Gordon that helped to contribute to a lot of comic book characters. For instance, where do you think Margot
with
Lane...
the Shadow, it's not just a little contribution. It's Bob Kane and Bill Finger just flat out ripped off.
Oh, it's not
even
just them.
Drawings from the actual pulp they stole from.
It's not just them, no. Where do you think Lois Lane comes from?
No.
Lois Lane comes from the character of Margot Lane, who is the Shadow's paramour.
A big one is there's a character who's a blatant Shadow copy called the Spider. And his secret identity is Commissioner James Gordon. Yep. It's like they didn't even fucking try to hide it.
Yeah. Again, these characters, those early characters, helped to contribute to a lot of the comics characters that would come later. And it would be really cool if somebody made another attempt to do the Shadow. Let me just say this. I enjoyed the movie because the story had a very interesting angle, and I liked the resolution of the story. I liked how they used the Shadow in the story. I thought that, unlike today, I thought that Penelope had good chemistry with Alec Baldwin. I also liked how they were able to establish a connection between Lamont or Yinko and John Lone's Schwan Khan. I like that connection there. Everybody was good. It just wasn't a great movie. I wish it were. But everybody, all the pieces were good, but together it just didn't create something way better. That's all. That was my only thing with this movie. Other than that, I thought it was a lot of fun,
I put really with this film, there's moments, like especially the opening scene. The opening scene is great.
Yeah. And Wolverine 66. Yes, I agree with you. I'd like to see new, good adaptations of both the Shadow and the Phantom. I also want to see the Avenger also. I think the Avenger would be awesome. I'd always said that if they ever did a version of the Avenger, that I think Brad Pitt should play the lead.
Well, he's a little old now.
Yeah.
I think you could do it though. A guy with malleable skin, unable to control the muscles in his face, and that'd be great. You could almost be almost of any age. I mean, he's still in physically good condition. He's physically still good. I think you could make it. I think you could do it because it would be a 1940s style John Wick adventure, but with a guy with a noticeable difference. His skin is alabaster white. His hair has turned a whitish gray. And he's out to just take on all the bad guys.
Yeah, actually, I mentioned John Wick's the closest we have to an old school pulp character, including just the fact of things getting completely ridiculous as it goes along because the writer's making up as he goes along.
I think a lot of these characters you could do, especially now that we have something like the volume. To me, the volume is made to be used sparingly, but for those who can't afford to fly out to different places, use a lot of actual places. If you're trying to recreate places that no longer exist, the volume's perfect because that's the thing. You're going to have to use sets anyway, and the volume will allow you to create as many different environments and recreate as many different environments as possible. It's no longer financially feasible to go filming at a lot of places that quote unquote may still exist from this time period. And that's the unfortunate thing. You're going to have to recreate a lot of this stuff using CGI and physical sets that you're going to have to make. But if you're going to do that and you have enough money to make it as realistic as possible, then control the environment, use the volume, and have a good time with it. Unfortunately, I cannot see how you can get away with any of this stuff for less than 120 million.
I think with some of the tech we got going with, the auto AI, there's definitely a way to bring the budgets down. The problem is, it's just the current system's too bloated.
Mm-hmm.
I think the independent sphere would have a decent chance.
Yeah, well, again, you can't get away with doing too much because you're talking a lot of basic noir. And you're talking about filming in places where, recreating cities at certain times of the year, trench coats, all that stuff. You can't film that in the Midwest when you got a heat wave going on. Not easily. You'd have to have enough money to be able to not only recreate an environment, but to be able to protect your actors from basically passing out due to heat. You can't kill your actors. It would not be good.
Well, I guess with Alec Baldwin, yes, you can.
Yeah. I was trying to avoid that.
I know, you were
reference,
trying
but-
so hard. You almost made it. But, I mean, even for something like the Rocketeer, who is one of the few characters that I don't think we're going to be able to have anything new from, because Disney found a way of sewing all that up, and that's unfortunate because I would love to have an adaptation of the original comic, and to
They already screwed up with that animated series that they did. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I don't even talk about that. No, I don't even talk about that. It doesn't exist in my world. But the reason why I would like someone else to do it is I would like someone else to do it so they could get the rights to all the other characters that Disney took out of the story. Because the Rocketeer is a fun movie, but in my opinion, it's even better if you kept all of the original characters in the story. that they took out for the movie. And they took a lot of characters out of the movie. Dave Stevens created an adventure that was really an homage to a lot of these pulp characters. And so when you understand who all of these characters were and how important, as we just said, especially Doc Savage, well, who better to be the inventor of the rocket than Doc Savage? And then to have two of Doc's associates be part of the team searching for the rocket throughout the entire adventure. The Rocketeer really is a Doc Savage movie that sparingly has Doc Savage in it. That's really what the story is. It's Doc Savage.
Sadly, a lot of these characters still under copyright, though they're starting to finally go into public domain. So we might actually be able to get, pulp Avengers, for lack of a better term.
Maybe. Look, that's both a good and a bad thing. On the one hand, it's good when things go into the public domain because people could then use it. But it's also a bad thing because you're going to get a multitude of different ways of playing this stuff. And you're not, nobody really has to do an exact adaptation. That's the up and downside. I think personally, Monkey Jeebus. Yeah, you're right, Monkey Jeebus. James Gunn should greenlight Planetary. It'd be great if he did. Planetary would be awesome. But again, if you are a fan of what I do for this show and have been watching me since the beginning, you know how much I love Planetary. And for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, Planetary, DC Comics, just get to your favorite comics dealer, order it if you have to. If you are a big fan of pop culture characters, superheroes, and all that stuff, you will enjoy Planetary. To me, that should be a Max exclusive adventure. That's really what they should have done rather than try to do the TV version of Watchmen. They should have just done Planetary. So,
by the way, Keith,
too.
For what you were talking about the expense, I do got a way you could do the Shadow in the modern day. It's pretty simple.
Okay.
You take the basics of Batman Beyond, but you don't have it where the Shadow's like old and decrepit like Bruce is. You have it where it starts there, and then the Shadow has to retire for a while or go into stasis. And he comes back in the modern day, and he has to start building his network again. So you have he finds kid, whatnot, he starts rebuilding his agent network. So you have an introductory character who doesn't know about any of this that can expose things to the audience, and he's working with the Shadow. So it's like a team up.
And
you can bring back some of the old villains, or you could even have people descend of them, and more importantly, you make up new ones. So you have the best of both worlds that way.
I'd need to sit with that for a moment. I would really need to sit with that. I think you might have something. Then again, it also sounds like the formula for Phantom 2049.
No, they've done this with the character before, and they've done it terribly before, because when RoboCop took off, they had a comic in the 80s where the Shadow comes back, but he's only a head, and they have to stick him in like a robotic body because, of course, Robo-fucking-Cop instead of the Shadow. I'm saying keep the Shadow, but you could do things with the contrast between him from the 1950s and everything else versus what's going on now. Have that culture clash and use that as an advantage in the storytelling instead of having to go around or do like a big throwback or something else. Which, don't get me wrong, I love throwbacks, but for the budgetary reasons, we have to do modern day. Take advantage of the fact that he's from a different era. Like him being Lamont Cranston Jr. or some shit like that. Just keep things the same, but throw it in a different era. Imagine the 60s style James Bond in the modern era instead of them trying to update him. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome. I'd still need to think about it for a moment. And Monkey Jeebus, getting Chris Carter to be the showrunner to do to do Planetary, I would rather have Chris Carter be one of the writers on a Question series. The Question would be good because he's that kind of.
He definitely shouldn't be, because outside of the X-Files, Chris Carter has just had no luck with TV series.
Yeah, I wouldn't make him the showrunner. I would allow him to be a writer, but I wouldn't make him the showrunner. I'd allow him to contribute a story. Let's see. Joss Whedon loves Planetary. Stole your. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you can always track him down, man, and try to see if he want to give you your book back.
Just
How do you know his wife didn't get the books in the divorce?
Oh no, dude.
That's what I was about to say. Talk to his ex. Maybe she got the books, or she could probably get them going. Like, honey, books are part of the divorce. Cough 'em
She
up,
wouldn't
bitch.
say honey. She'd call him something else. I look, I'm telling you right now, one way or another, I don't think we've seen the last Joss Whedon. I think he will appear again. In fact, I think he's been working all this time. I think he's been doing what he initially started doing anyway, which is I think he's been hired as a script doctor on several projects. Because he made a lot of money doing that before.
Well, maybe Neil Gaiman will join him.
Oh,
Ouch, dude. You were just right on that, man.
God damn, Shinatsky.
Wow.
I'm just saying, Arnold was thrown under the bus for less. He only had one made.
Oh man. Okay, well, hey, yeah, I'm just saying, I think Joss Whedon will be back in some capacity. Now, I don't think he'll be able to get back everything he lost, but I think he will be back in some capacity. And
I don't necessarily know, because here's the thing about it. His family was, dynasty of screenwriters for like 3 generations, right?
Mm-hmm.
I forget the exact thing. Like, what is his ex tied to? Like, what's her family? I'm trying to remember.
Well, I don't know, but I know
way higher
that,
up.
But his half brother is still in the business. He and his wife are still doing things, and it's all tied to what their father was like. Their father was a guy who had mental issues, and it looks like Joss may have inherited their father's issues, which is part of the reason why you don't hear from everybody in the family, I think. But that's the reason why his brother, i.e. half brother, and his wife Marissa, they were the actual showrunners behind Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They actually ran that. And Joss went off and did what he did. And yeah. I think, I don't think he'll be able to get back to where he was, but he is a talented script doctor. And I think a lot of people would be idiots not to pay him to come in and fix things. In fact, in my view, you'll start to know that things are starting to turn around from Marvel's end if they end up hiring Joss Whedon secretly to fix a lot of their scripts. Because I'm telling you right now, how they've been doing things since Joss Whedon's been gone has just been crap. I mean, how are you just not able to make a Blade movie?
It's not just like him, infidelities aside. And I'm just going to say this very simply. Buffy ruined an entire generation of writers.
I get it. I get it. A lot of writers didn't know how to do it, and they emulated what they thought it was.
Why was there a musical episode of Stranger New World? Why?
Yeah, I get it.
Buffy had a musical episode.
But what it is that you also have a lot of people running around. First of all, you have a lot of people running around who have been given more than what they should have been given. There's no longer any way to work your way up into positions of authority. You have people being given things. You have people walking into jobs that they are 5 to 10 years away from being good at. And who've never really had to work their way into that position to understand all the particulars. And they haven't been around the business long enough to get an opportunity to work with people who know what the F they're doing. So it's not so much that Buffy ruined it. It's the fact that the way things have been done up to now, and this goes not only for Hollywood, this goes for the comics industry itself and other areas. You've got people being given things. Used to be that when you join the comics industry as a writer, you'd have to earn the right to write and create for any of the big titles that they have. And I'm not just talking DC, I'm talking Marvels as well. You'd have to earn being given Thor or Iron Man or the Hulk or Spider-Man or Batman or Superman or Justice League or the Legion or even Teen Titans. You have to earn that. And a lot of people didn't. A lot of people were just given. Or in the case of one particular young woman, she took it because her boyfriend was a Batman fan. And then she took it upon herself to just change the ethnicities of all the characters.
Yep.
Because she thought it'd be kind of cool.
Going back to my example, the STD, what's Michael Burnham then like taking the equivalent of Buffy and then just adding more things like, well, we got to make her good at everything.
Yeah, well, again, that's where we are. And it's an entire industry that has been ruined by letting people just do whatever the blank they want without any real experience. You know, under those conditions, you should just let somebody come out of high school and just be a doctor. They don't have to go to medical school. They don't have to, have any experience working their way up. You should just let them start cutting on people. And that's where we are. We've ruined an entire industry because of that. If you want to get good at anything, you need to earn the right to be there. And that means paying your dues and basically apprenticing people who actually do know what they're doing. That's it.
Keith, you're for competency and for...
Well, if I'm going to be under the knife of someone,
you're for the people who've done the actual work to get where they are. That's the problem that they don't like. They don't like that because they have equality now, and we're going to get there no matter how many bodies we have to bury.
Well,
we're going to get complete parity no matter how many industries we have to destroy. It's worth it because that's our vision.
And you're also getting people who are learning this from people who have nefarious intentions. History wise, I learned that if you want to actually become good at something, you're going to have to learn it from the people that actually have that knowledge. You can't just be given something because you asked for it. And when it
Yeah.
comes to the history of this country, especially for people who look like me, you know, all of this stuff about, well, you should just be given it because you asked for it flies in the face of starting all the schools and universities for people of color. Why even do all that? Why do they exist? Because they want you to actually be good at what you're doing. You can't just be something because you think it. That is the attitude of a 3-year-old.
Yep. But they're the 3-year-old are in charge. And they've also made it so, and this is the other consequence of all this crap going on. They've made it so you have a choice between either be good at something or get ahead. And a lot of people will choose to get overhead versus being good at something because it's work to be good at something, where it's a lot easier to kiss up to the right people, have the right politics, and get ahead. You might not believe in it, but you know you're going to get taken care of. Whereas all the people who are good at things, what happens to them? They're troublemakers. They get rid of them. Now, we might get to the point where finally things have burned down far enough that they're going to go, hey, we need you back. But Paramount, it's in the gutter. Still not happening. Now, I hope you're right. And the guy that they called in is actually going to, right the ship. But based on the history of all this crap, especially with the industry in Hollywood, it's not going to happen because it's a fundamental core of what has taken over. And so the only way things will actually right themselves, sadly, is once everything's burned down and the industry's a husk, and then these ideologues will go off somewhere else that they view they can have influence.
I see what you're saying, Shinatsky, except that I think we've already reached that point. Once you start messing with the people who actually have the money and want to keep their money and want to stay wealthy, once you start messing with their ability to be able to stay wealthy, that's when things start to change. And they've reached a point where they have taken enough, done enough damage. They've already, in certain instances, crossed a line. I think that we're going to start seeing some changes. Now, will it be quick changes? No, it's going to take time. Like anything else worth doing, it will take time. I have never said that this is going to be an instant overnight thing. I have never said that things will magically just revert back to the way that they are overnight. Everything I've ever talked about is, will take time. But time is what you need. And eventually somebody will put all the pieces together, right their ship, and start moving forward. And once that happens, that will then officially be the blood to water moment. And a lot of other people will come forward and just say, hey, this isn't working. Again, this is gonna take BlackRock and other investment companies. They obviously want to lose more money, and that's fine. That's a them thing. You keep throwing money in there, you keep getting next to no return, that's fine. Because eventually your shareholders and others will have to have a talk with you. I mean, everybody that does business, period, you've got to have a come to Jesus moment with the people who you actually owe money to. And eventually you're going to run into somebody who basically isn't going to be, they're not going to change their minds based on the flowery language. They want their money. They want what was promised. So, and that's starting to happen. You're starting to get down to it. Uh, but as far as getting down to it, I guess it's time for us to wrap up this incredible episode. I think we've done a lot of good work today, everybody. Talking about The Shadow, 30th anniversary, which again, I still have to shake my head. I can't believe it's been 30 years, man. Again, I saw this movie in the theater. Wow, 30 years. F, I'm old. Anyway, um, anyway, hopefully, hopefully there'll be somebody that will want to take on the Shadow property again in the future. Hopefully there'll be somebody in the future that'll want to actually take on doing Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers properly.
I'd love that, but it's kind of like the Lone Ranger. It's so far enough back that outside of a few people like me and you, most people don't even know or care about these characters.
That's the reason why I think they could work. I think they could work because what you need is just a few people. Look, I'm not saying that I'm not talking about these to be like making billions of dollars at the box office. I just want to see these done properly because having a really good Flash Gordon movie or Buck Rogers movie, especially Buck Rogers.
I mean,
Buck Rogers.
You could make a like 7 or 8 season television series. Just do one like Shadow book per episode.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I feel about Doc Savage. Doc Savage could easily be a television series. You know? Although really Flash Gordon would make a really good television series. Just go to New Zealand, film it, you know, utilize all this technology that we have and just go to New Zealand and make it happen. Because really both Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon at their heart are about a revolution. Changing the world through a massive revolution. You know, Buck enters into a world that's in the middle of a revolution. Fighting for really America. And Flash enters into an entire world that's on the brink of war. And he becomes the spark that lights that and helps to focus. He initially is the bad guy who basically helps to focus everyone on who the real bad guy is and overthrowing him. So, yeah, Wolverine 66. Pulp Heroes are sold. They can be brand new again. So,
Yeah, had some crackers.
I'll
take one.
Tell that lovely girlfriend of yours I said hi.
He says hi. She says hi back.
But yeah, I think I'd like to see that someday. So I just want to thank everyone. Oh wait, Sentai Ranger Downey says there were TV series versions of both Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. Yes, you're right. There were TV versions, early television versions. And I think enough time has passed where you could get away with doing a lot of that again. Buck Rogers would be far easier to do than what people think. Because if you go by what the original story had in it, you're talking a version of America, really, where the trees have had time to grow again. A lot of it's become overgrowth, lots of forest, and the bad guys don't know this country a tenth of the way the natives do. And Buck joins with the natives to fight and use technology to overcome the bad guys and their takeover of America. That's really what that story is. So who knows? Someday. Anyway, I just want to thank Monkey Jeebus. Defenders of the Earth was the original League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yep.
Yes. Again, another great story that I hope someday somebody decides to redo that one, because that would be a fantastic movie someday.
There's an animated series.
Ooh.
No, there was an animated series.
Yep.
Back in the 80s. Maybe even
Yeah. For Defenders of the yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember that. Anyway.
There's also another obstacle for the Shadow, and it's China, because where does he get his power? Where did he get his training from? Tibetan monks.
I think we could figure out a way around that.
Yeah.
But again, I would like to thank Sentai Ranger Donnie, Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs, Monkey Jeebus, Kingsport Kyle, Dadman Walking 55, Janet from Another Planet. What's this? Happy 4th of July, everyone, and may the power protect you all. Thank you, Sentai. Thank you very much. Wow. Let's see. Penny, Shinodsky, Canadian Spider-Man. Hey, didn't you guys just have your own big day up there recently? Wolverine 626, Gap After Dark, Andy Morrow. Wow. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank, first and foremost, I want to thank John, because I've missed you, dude. I really have. I've missed you. Any opportunity to get on with you and spend time with you, I'm all for. So thank you for giving of your time today, your precious time today.
And Allie was out doing Spark, so I had time.
Well, you give Allie a big hug from me.
I will.
And again, you are welcome back anytime you want to come back. Okay.
Yeah, it's just I work normally, so
I know, but anytime you feel the need and you just want to, you are more than welcome to jump back in. What Wolverine 626 says, that's why one creates fictional countries with real world similarities.
Yep.
Thank you, DC Comics. And of course, thank you to Shinodsky for coming in, because he's cool like that, and Martin, because Martin is the man. So 4th of July. Well, I cannot believe that we are halfway through this summer. It seems like it just started. But I am very happy that everyone decided to pop in today and join me and listen to me make a fool of myself again. And and I'm always honored that anyone would bother to spend time listening as I pontificate on things that spin my wheels on and spend my time on and take me seriously for any period of time. So
well, you're the guru. You're the guy that knows it all. So
I am far from being the guru of geeks. That's my other twin brother, Robert Meyer Burnett. So, but I thank you. I thank you, John. So happy 4th of July. And for those of you who do not celebrate, go ahead and shoot something off anyway. Today, the entire world is American. So let them hear you roar, okay? So everybody be safe out there. Watch out for each other. And, when you get a chance, just be cooler than cool, okay? Have a nice day.
Bye.